Part 11. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 101. Soul of Lonely Mountain King Muraden. Level, Saint level. Function, activate Soul of Lonely Mountain King Muraden, which can cause huge ancestral damage to all dwarves within a kilometer range of the owner of this sacred weapon, as well as all creatures within Lonely Mountain. Coercion. Description: the soul of Muraden, the dwarf king of the Lonely Mountain thousands of years ago, is still roaring and full of fighting spirit. See the functional description of this sacred artifact. Suchen frowned slightly. Coercion? What's the use of this kind of thing? Suchen smacked his lips twice. He was about to put it into his backpack. Suddenly, a huge shadow floated out of the translucent crystal ball. This shadow coincided with the statue of Muraden sitting in the temple. The statue of the god instantly came to life. At the same time, an overwhelming pressure enveloped the entire Lonely Mountain. All the dwarves in the Lonely Mountain, from the tribal king to the ordinary dwarves, all faced the direction of the temple and bowed devoutly. Suchen Balan, including 4 dwarf warriors beside him, faced this kind of coercion. With a bang, he knelt down to the ground and could not raise his head. Even a dwarf warrior as strong as level 70 could not face this kind of blood soul. Under such pressure, he couldn't muster any resistance. Suchen didn't feel anything at all. He stared straight at Muraden's statue. Or, it was Muraden's soul. This soul was more powerful than the statue. It is majestic. The Lonely Mountain divine hammer in his hand is constantly surrounded by terrifying lightning. It seems that as long as the hammer comes down, the whole world will be torn apart. Like, too similar. Muraden's soul uttered human words and stared at Suchen closely. This voice appeared directly in Suchen's mind. He couldn't help but look to the left and right. The dwarf warrior and Balan were still kneeling on the ground, no different. It seems that only he can hear the voice of Muraden's soul. Like what? Suchen frowned. Muraden laughed heartily, but it was as sonorous and powerful as gold and stone. Boy, you have the blood of the Supreme Dragon King. I noticed it as early as when you first entered the Gushan range. At first, I thought I was seeing an old friend. Alas, it has been 1,000 years since we said goodbye to each other. I don't know if our old friend is still well. Suchen frowned slightly after hearing this. Old friend, are you talking about the emperor of the Great Yan Empire thousands of years ago? Muraden's deep eyes looked outside the temple, as if he had traveled through thousands of years. Yes, apart from this generation of Qing emperor who fought against heaven and earth, who else is worthy of Muraden's concern for thousands of years? Qing emperor? Emperor of the Great Yan Empire, does he still have this title? This is the first time Suchen has heard of it. However, Muraden, the king of Gushan, is a dwarf king who has achieved divine status. And his divine status is not low. Like the two-winged blazing, a character like an angel cannot be defeated in the hands of Muraden. But even such a being shows great nostalgia and yearning for the emperor of the Great Yan Empire. This shows how magnificent this Qing emperor was back then. It was earth-shattering. Suchen noticed what Muraden said about farewell to Jean Tien. He asked, what is Jean Tien? Muraden seemed very willing to talk to Suchen. He said with great nostalgia. Jean Tien it's just a name for me. For Kingdi, it should be called Zishan, which is more appropriate. Back then, I had just achieved divine status and entered the divine realm. I met the Qing emperor who conquered the 6 realms with 1 man and 1 sword. At that time, the Empress Luo Shen was recognized as the most beautiful goddess in the 6 realms. And the Qing emperor not only swept across the 6 realms of gods and demons alone, treating the gods and demons as if they were nothing, he also kidnapped the most beautiful emperor of the 6 realms and took him to the divine continent. I was lucky enough to meet him back then, and he cut Olympus in the god realm into two halves with just a casual sword strike. The remaining power almost destroyed my godhood. From then on, I vowed to follow him, even though Qing Emperor may not know that I am such a powerful figure, even if it is a war between gods and demons, even if Qing Emperor has disappeared, I am willing to fight for him. Suchen listened for a long time. Finally he understood. I have been working with you for a long time, it's just unrequited love. You followed the Qing Emperor, fought for the Qing Emperor, and even died in the war between gods and demons. But people King Di doesn't even know if there is someone like you. Suchen curled his lips and asked Old Man, I will help you condense your soul. Do you have any magical weapons, magical skills, etc. that you can give to me? Muradin stopped recalling with some unfinished thoughts. Hearing Suchen's words, he laughed dumbly and said, I have been dead for thousands of years, how can I still have the strength to maintain the existence of the artifact? Divine skills require more powerful power to pass on, but what? Suchen asked quickly. However, although I don't have any magical weapons or magical skills, and my power has dissipated, there is still no problem in giving you a small reward. At that moment, Muradin waved the lonely mountain hammer in his hand. Two more earth-yellow streams of light fell on Suchen. A warm current instantly spread throughout Suchen's body. Ding! Your true dragon body has been improved, and the blood recovery rate per second has been increased to 10%. Ding! You get 100 free attribute points given by King of the Lonely Mountain Muradin. The blood regeneration speed has finally increased to 10%. Hearing the system prompt, Suchen felt secretly happy. From then on, he no longer had any worries about the unparalleled evil madness skill. He could use it as long as he wanted, anyway. No blood loss. In addition, there are 100 free attribute points, which is equivalent to an ordinary player reaching 20 levels in a row. All attribute points are added to strength, so the attack is increased by 100 points and the defense is increased by 20 points. Muradin sonorous, the powerful voice sounded in Suchen's mind again. Little brother, I can feel that you have a deep connection with that Qing Emperor. What exactly it is, I don't know. However, I have a hunch that in the near future, you will be the next generation of Qing Emperor. The next generation of the invincible Qing Emperor who has conquered the 6 realms alone. After the words fell, Muradin's soul returned to the crystal ball in Suchen's hand, no longer alive. Thinking of Muradin's last words, Suchen raised his eyebrows. He took out the jade tablet in his backpack. This jade tablet was his incarnation. Found in the ruins of the ancient Dian Empire in Longjian village, Bidaolan. Just at the foot of a pair of stone statues. The laughing Jade Emperor, the proud Tathagata, the God King sprinkles the ground, the Demon Queen pours tea, the Demon Lord comes to hold my horse for me, the Ghost King pretends to be ugly and makes me laugh, the gods and demons of the 6 realms are just mediocre. Suchen looked at the writing on the jade tablet. It seems that what is written in this jade tablet is not arrogance. Just when Suchen was in reverie, a mission system prompt sounded. Ding! The first battle of the legendary mission, the Battle of the Solitary Mountain King, the battle for the ore has ended. Now announce the final result of ore battle. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 102. Ding! Congratulations to the Bronzebeard tribe supported by the God of War Guild for winning this ore battle. The Bronzebeard tribe obtained King Star *1. God of War Guild currently has 12 million points and gained add 120,000 reputation value from the Bronzebeard tribe. Obtained an additional reputation of 12 million from the King of Bronzebeard tribe Bahrain. Now begins the second competition of the Battle of the Solitary Mountain King, the Battle of Skills. The winning tribe will receive King Star *2. All players are invited to go to Gushan Square. Hearing the system prompt, Suchen's lips curled up. Got another 12.12 million reputations. About to leave. Another series of system prompts sounded. Ding. You get the ore tribute from the God of War Guild, Ancient Ore *120. Ding. You get the ores tribute from the Sakura Purgatory Guild, Refined Iron 50,000, Refined Steel 30,000, Anthracite *120,000. Ding. You get God's Whip ores from the guild, Grind Powder 20,000, Tough Ore Powder 100,000, Saltpetre *80,000. Ding. You get the ores from Viking Guild as tribute, Pig Iron 200,000, Limestone 250,000, Sulfur *60,000. Ding. Your backpack space is insufficient to obtain more ores, please expand your backpack space. Dozens of continuous notification sounds came rushing over. Suchen was stunned when he heard this. I wipe it. All the ore that was offered as tribute ended up in my bag. Suchen looked at the statue of Muraden, the lonely mountain king, who was sitting on it. A smile seemed to flash across the latter's bronze face. He didn't say anything. Suchen spent 9,000 gold coins to directly expand the backpack space to 100,000 spaces. A flood of system prompts sounded again. Ding. You get the ores from British Guild as tribute, Coke 20,000, Emery 10,000, Gravel *160,000. Ding. Haha, not only did all the 120 ancient ores that were offered as tribute come back, but I also got all the tribute ores from another 100 guilds. Suchen looked at the various ores densely packed in his backpack. Based on this amount, there are enough materials to build 10,000 self-adjusting rapid-fire cannons right now. This time the ore battle mission has made a lot of money. I was originally thinking about how to collect more minerals. After all, the mineral deposits in Bahrain have just been mined, so I have no worries now. Suchen laughed loudly. He pulled up Bahrain, who was still kneeling on the ground. Let's go to Gushan Square and participate in the battle of skills. The battle for ore is just an appetizer. The later battle of skills and force is the main event. Because of the battle for ore, the winner can only win one king star. In the battle of skill, it is 2. The final battle of force, the competition is 3. After 3 competitions, the tribe with the most king stars will win the throne of Gushan King. If there are 2 tribes with the same number of king stars, there will be an additional martial arts competition. After all, this continent, it is better to respect strength. Only by strong force can the continuation of the race be ensured. Oh. Balin followed Suchen out of the temple with a confused look on his face. The brain is buzzing. There was no way, too many things happened in just a few minutes, and they were too shocking. First, Suchen openly killed people in the temple. Then the bloodline of the dwarf king is revealed. Blessed by ancestor Muraden. Immediately afterwards, Suchen took out the divine object ancient ore. In a short period of time, he single-handedly reversed the ranking of the ore competition, allowing the least promising Bronzebeard tribe to take first place. After that, I don't know what happened. Ancestor Muraden once again performed miracles, as if his true form had arrived. The coercion suppressed the entire lonely mountain. It made Bahrain unable to move and made his mind go blank. Open the palace door. Suchen stepped out. I saw tens of thousands of players in front of me, densely packed on the ground. And they all knelt down towards the temple. It looks like he is kneeling down to Suchen. Huh? Why did you give me such a big gift if you won the first place in the ore battle? Suchen said doubtfully. Especially the person in front of him who was wearing a black robe Sakura Purgatory. He knelt down and fell to the ground. Suchen couldn't help but touched his head. Suddenly he thought of Gushan King Mulatin soul function description. It seems to be able to exert great pressure on all creatures within the Gushan range, including players. Thinking of this, Suchen suddenly understood. A smirk appeared at the corner of his mouth. Suchen opened his hands. Shouted, "Everyone loves you." After saying that, he Yuran walked towards Gushan Square with his hands behind his back. The players behind him stood up one by one, filled with grief and anger. As for Kuroda Takeneo, his face was already ferocious. "Pull out your teeth. That's too much." The members of the Sakura Purgatory Guild behind him comforted. "Second young master, we still have a good chance of winning." The battle for ores resulted in the least number of king stars, only one. Skills and force are the highlights. As long as we help the Wild Hammer tribe win the next two games, we, Sakura Inferno, will still be the ones with the last laugh. The anger in Kuroda Takeneo's heart gradually subsided. He said with a gloomy face, "Prepare 2 female elf slaves. This time I will go and explain to King Okuyama in person. All 3 legendary engineering masters of the Bronzebeard tribe have been poached, and 2 of them are here with us. I wonder how that King's Landing is still jumping around." God's Whip and other Nordic Guild players also walked towards Gushan Square. The Viking Guild and God's Whip are both guilds that support the Dark Iron tribe. In addition, both of them are from the Nordic service area, so they are very close this time. Mr. Alexander, the overlord of the North M War, sent a message saying that he is willing to help us win this battle for the Gushan King. Alexander is the leader of the God's Whip Guild, and he is also one of the 3 major plutocratic families in Country F. After hearing the words of the Viking Guild leader Viking Captain talk, Alexander sneered. The war overlord has very long hands. He doesn't want to get cheap dwarf equipment in the future, huh? Viking Captain Talk said with a smile. In this battle of skills, the Wild Hammer tribe supported by Sakura Inferno has 2 legendary engineering masters poached from the Bronzebeard tribe. And our Black Iron tribe has only hired 1 legendary master. The Bronzebeard tribe is naturally nothing to worry about, but the Wild Hammer tribe must be our formidable enemy. This time, the war overlord said that he sent someone to bring a treasure that can help our legendary masters create sophisticated, even perfect legendary engineering equipment. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 103. Hearing the words of Viking Captain Talk, Alexander raised his eyebrows. "Oh? What baby is it?" "A lucky medal can increase the wearer's luck by 5%. There are actually 5%. Alexander's eyes lit up. In the production profession, a 1% accuracy rate is considered a top-notch talent. A 5% luck level means a 5% accuracy rate, or even a higher level of perfection rate. Alexander naturally knew what this meant in the competition of skills. There was also a smile on the corner of his mouth. If the conditions offered by War Overlord are not excessive, we at God's Whip will consider giving him some discounts on dwarf equipment. Viking Captain Talk smiled and said, "Our Viking Guild thinks the same way." But Alexander hesitated, frowned slightly, and looked at the figure at the end of the road. "I always have a hunch that in the next battle of skills, that guy will probably do something amazing again." Viking Captain Talk followed Alexander's gaze. The 2 figures, one tall and one short, are Suchen and Balin. Mr. Alexander is worried about him. It's nothing more than a clown jumping. In the face of absolute strength, no matter how much he jumps, it's useless. In the entire Bronzebeard tribe, only Bronzebeard King Balin is left with an epic engineer. All the legendary masters have been poached. What can they do to fight? As for Junlin, as far as I know, he has not studied any production profession, so there is no need to worry about it at all. Alexander pondered for a long time, and suddenly said quietly, "What if he cheats again?" Viking Captain Talk opened his mouth, and suddenly said with a smile, but not a smile, "Mr. Alexander, do you really believe that cheating is allowed in this game?" Balin glanced around furtively. Then he whispered to Suchen. "My brother, do you have any tricks for the upcoming skill competition? Just like the ancient ore just now." Recalling the way Suchen took out pieces of ancient ores in the temple just now, Balin still felt shocked. As he asked, he looked at Suchen expectantly. The latter pondered for a long time and asked Balin, "My brother, do you have any more powerful engineering skills books?" Bahrain was stunned. "Engineering skills book? We dwarves only have the engineering introductory skill book. If we want to develop more powerful skills, we can only rely on hard work and talent. Is it just entry level? Okay, give me a copy of GN8 by first, and I will learn to read it first." Suchen stretched out his hand and said. Balin stayed where he was. "First, learn to see." "My brother, you don't even know how to get started in engineering, right?" Bahrain said with a hint of hope and apprehension. Suchen shrugged. "I won't talk about it at the beginning. I haven't been exposed to engineering yet, but I am smart and can learn everything quickly. Don't be stunned, hurry up and give me 1 or 2,000 introductory skill books, I'll learn them quickly, and the skills competition will begin soon." Bahrain opened his mouth wide and his eyes were dull. Study twice? An introductory skills book, after a while. Ding. You get engineering entry skill book *1000. Bahrain sighed and said, "My brother, no matter how many books you study on this kind of entry-level skill book, you are still a beginner. Without personally building engineering equipment, without accumulating experience, and without enough talent, it is impossible to improve your skills." Suchen ignored Balin's nagging. "Rub your hands together and learn a skill book." Ding. Congratulations on your new skill, Introduction to Engineering. Then start merging. Ding. Fusion Engineering Introductory Skill Book *10, Fusion Points Deducted, 50, Fusion in Progress. Ding. Congratulations on getting Engineering Elementary Skills Book *2. Can 5 introductory books be combined into one elementary one? Suchen thought thoughtfully. Then he extended his hand to Balin and said, "Give me another 200,000 engineering introductory skills book." Bahrain. As an NPC, Suchen could produce as many entry-level skill books as he wanted. However, this thing can't even be sold for a copper coin in a store. Why do brothers Junlin want so much? Seemingly seeing the confusion in Balin's eyes, Suchen smiled casually and said, "It is said that quantitative changes lead to qualitative changes. If you learn more at the beginning, your level will naturally improve. Bahrain is, like this." Suchen rubbed his hands and was about to learn the elementary engineering skills book. Ding. Failed to learn, current proficiency in entry-level engineering skills is insufficient. Hearing the system prompt, Suchen patted his forehead. It seems that we can only learn and practice again when competing. Now, continue to integrate skill books. Ding. Fusion Engineering Introductory Skill Book *200,000, deducting fusion points, 1 million, in the process of fusion. Ding. Fusion successful. Congratulations on getting Engineering Elementary Skills Book *40,000. Ding. Fusion Engineering Elementary Skill Book *30,000, Fusion Points Deducted, Fusion Successful. Congratulations on getting Engineering Intermediate Skill Book *6000. Ding. Fusion Engineering Intermediate Skill Book *5000, Fusion Points Deducted, Fusion Successful. Congratulations on getting Advanced Engineering Skills Book *1000. Ding. Fusion. Ding. Fusion Advanced Engineering Skill Book *900, deducting fusion points, Fusion Successful. Congratulations on getting Engineering Epic Skill Book * 180. Ding. Fusion Engineering Epic Skill Book * 170, Fusion points deducted, Fusion successful. Congratulations on getting Engineering Legendary Skill Book * 34. Ding. Fusion Engineering Legendary Skill Book * 30, deducting Fusion points, 36 million. Ding. Fusion failed. The current Fusion points are insufficient. Huh. The Fusion failed? Suchen was merging without thinking all the way. Suddenly he heard the notification sound that the Fusion failed, and he was stunned. Fusion of 55 legendary skill books actually requires 36 million Fusion points. Suchen quickly looked at the existing Fusion points. Actually, only 6.15 million Fusion points were used at once. It seems that we can only combine the 5 legends first and take a look. Ding. Fusion of Engineering Legendary Skill Book * 5, deducting Fusion points, 6 million, Fusion successful. Congratulations on getting Engineering Holy Level Skill Book * 1. Beyond the legend is the Saint level. Above the Saint level is the God level. The Saint level skill book is the highest level that ordinary Fusion can achieve. Suchen did the statistics. Now he has 10,000 engineering elementary skills books, 1,000 intermediate skill books, 100 advanced books, 10 epic level books, 29 legendary level engineering skill books. In addition, there is one holy level skill book. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited Fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 104. Hey. With these skill books, it will be easy to build an epic and legendary engineering team in the future. Suchen happily put away these skill books. Then he and the anxious Balin walked towards Gushan Square. In the center of the square, there was a large open space. 3 stands were set up in the best locations around the open space. This is obviously reserved for the 3 tribal kings, Bronzebeard, Dark Iron, and Wild Hammer. At this time, the Gushan Square is already overcrowded. Hundreds of thousands of dwarves and tens of thousands of players are all gathered here. Dwarves love wine, and they love wine even more. Build equipment. Masters with superb equipment skills are even more sought after by them. Wow! Countless dwarves suddenly burst into warm applause and cheers. The crowd automatically separated, leaving a passage leading to the open space in the center of the square. I saw the 3 legendary masters of the Wild Hammer tribe, led by the king of the Wild Hammer tribe Ocean, came here. Among them, the short and stocky Ocean was hugging 2 tall and timid elf slave girls. From time to time taking a handful, Okuyama enjoyed the tsunami-like cheers from the surrounding mountains and laughed. Tender. Slip. Cool. Kuroganawu now, my future national master, you have done a great job. Okuyama said to the black-robed player following him. Kuroda Takeneo bowed slightly. Your Majesty, this is what I should do. Kuroda Takeneo's face hidden under the black robe showed a sneer. If he hadn't figured out King Okuyama's lecherous character, he sent 2 elf slave girls in time. The defeat in the ore battle would have been caused by the irascible Okuyama. The king reprimanded and even deprived the Sakura Purgatory Guild of its qualifications to participate. Following such a king and following his wishes was what Kuroda Takeneo had to do. At this moment, the square erupted in enthusiastic cheers again. Kuroda Wuji and King Ocean both frowned and looked over. They saw 2 legendary masters, led by King Victor of the Black Iron tribe, walking towards this side. Behind them, they were followed by Alexander, the leader of the Guild of God's Whip, and Viking Guild gang leader Viking Captain Talk. When the 2 tribal kings met, they snorted coldly. When both sides sat down in the stands in the middle of the square, King Ocean's rough and domineering voice came. Victor, the last ore in the battle, you actually lost to a young boy. You really disappoint me. Victor, the king of the Black Iron tribe, was slightly thin and had a sinister look in his eyes. He looked at Okuyama coldly and said sarcastically, "Then I would like to congratulate you. You, a 1,000-year-old second in command, have successfully won the second place again. Haha, what a long face." King Ocean's face was livid, and the 1,000-year-old man that Victor said stung the pain in his heart. Since his ancestor Muraden, the Gushan King, died in the battlefield of gods and demons. For thousands of years, the position of the Gushan King has always been occupied by the Bronzebeard tribe. Control. Every time the Wild Hammer tribe competes, they fall into second place. This has been the case for thousands of years. Now that the Bronzebeard tribe is weak, the Wild Hammer tribe finally sees the hope of competing for first place, so it works so hard, even he did not hesitate to make friends with evil camp players. Okuyama was furious and pinched the elf slave girl next to him, who let out a scream. "Victor, when I become the king of the Lonely Mountain, neither the Black Iron tribe nor the Bronzebeard tribe can even think of using the Lonely Mountain Divine Anvil. The Lonely Mountain Divine Anvil is the largest artifact of the dwarves. It once created a unique artifact for the ancestor Muraden to help him achieve the status of god." Kuroda Takeneo, Alexander, and others were shocked when they heard the words "the Lonely Mountain Divine Anvil," with a strong look of greed in their eyes. They value this task of the Battle of the Lonely Mountain King so much. Firstly, they want to get the support of the dwarves and obtain a large amount of cheap and sophisticated equipment. Secondly, they want to get the use of the Lonely Mountain Divine Anvil. Quan. The Lonely Mountain Divine Anvil has the powerful ability to improve the level of equipment. Although the cost of using it is extremely high, no player can resist this temptation. After hearing Okuyama's words, Victor, the king of the Black Iron tribe, sneered. "King of the Lonely Mountain? Are you worthy? In order to fight for the throne, you don't hesitate to collude with the forces of the evil camp. I think even my poor nephew is 100 times stronger than you. In terms of bickering, 10 Okuyamas are no match for Victor. Moreover, it is indeed not a glorious thing to cooperate with the forces of the evil camp." At that moment, Okuyama sat in the stands in a muffled voice, with a violent cold light flashing in his eyes from time to time, and he was thinking. "What?" Seeing Okuyama like this, Victor sneered. He looked up twice and pretended to say, "Where is my dear nephew? Are you afraid to come? That's such a shame." Hearing Victor's words, a legendary engineering master standing behind him lowered his head and secretly let out a guilty sigh. "Your Majesty Bahrain, if they hadn't threatened my family, I wouldn't have betrayed you." Okuyama was furious and said in a rough voice, "Who is the referee of this competition? Come out here. What time is it? Why don't you announce the start?" An old earl from the Bronzebeard tribe came out tremblingly. He bowed to the two kings and said, "Your Majesty, I, Bilbo, Earl of Ironforge, am the final judge of this battle of skills." Bilbo, Earl of Ironforge, is an old legendary engineering master. He retired only because he was old and frail and could no longer build any engineering equipment. However, his impartial character, seasoned vision, and rich engineering experience are all sufficient to serve as a referee in this technical dispute. Even Okuyama, who was furious, could not question the qualifications of old Bilbo. "Then why hasn't the start of the game been announced yet? Tomorrow is the day when the new king of Gushan ascends the throne. Can you, an old man who is about to die, bear the delay in delaying a major event?" Old Bilbo was neither humble nor arrogant. He bowed slightly and said, "Balin, the king of the Bronzebeard tribe, has not arrived yet, so the game cannot start." Okuyama said angrily, "That little bastard is too scared to come. I order you, start the race now." Old Bilbo frowned, confronting King Okuyama in this manner. At the same time, he was anxious in his heart. "Little Balin, even if the 3 legendary masters of the Bronzebeard tribe are poached, the courage of our Bronzebeard tribe cannot be lost. Even if you know you will lose in this competition, you still have to participate. When Okuyama saw that the old man dared to compete with him, he was about to order someone to forcefully change the referee. A slightly lazy voice sounded. Who said the king of Bahrain would not dare to come? Two figures, one tall and one short, came over. They were none other than Suchen and Balin. When he saw Okuyama in the stands, Balin's eyes immediately turned red, revealing piercing hatred. Suchen patted his shoulder and whispered, "Don't worry, he will die one day. Next, just treat this as our own stage. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion." Author, 7 years. Chapter 105. Balin's appearance is compared with the Wild Hammer and Dark Iron tribes. I felt a lot more lonely. There were hundreds of thousands of dwarves present, but only the tens of thousands of dwarves from the Bronzebeard tribe made a weak cry. And it also seems a little lacking in confidence. Okuyama and Victor laughed. He didn't even have a legendary master, so he brought a human boy over. Could it be that that human boy was also a legendary engineering master? Victor looked at Balin and Suchen darkly, and asked behind him. God's Whip Guild leader Alexander bowed slightly and said, "Your Majesty, please rest assured, that human boy does not have any engineering skills." Victor laughed. "Then I, the king, can rest assured. With your lucky medal here, I will definitely win the favor of my ancestor Muraden and win the championship in this battle of skills." Ocean didn't bother to talk to Balin at all. In his opinion, in this competition of skills, the Bronzebeard tribe without the legendary master is already out. He immediately urged the old Earl Bilbo hurry up and announce the start. "Don't dawdle." Bilbo glanced at Balin with relief. Then he said loudly, "The second battle of the Lonely Mountain King, skill competition, now let's announce the rules of the competition." In the center of the square, there are 3 workbench. There are various basic materials and parts on the workbench, as well as a small amount of epic and legendary materials. Contestants must build their own finished engineering equipment within half an hour. Those who time out or create half-finished products will be judged as failed. In this competition, the first place will receive 2 King Stars. The second place will receive a King Star. The third place is Won Wangzing. The above are all the rules of this game. Now, I declare that the game begins. Following old Bilbo's order, 3 legendary masters came out of the Wild Hammer tribe. 2 legendary masters came out of the Black Iron tribe. One of them also wore a shining medal, which was the luck medal. As for the Bronzebeard tribe, Balin took a deep breath, wiped the sweat from his palms, and said to Suchen, "Brother, I'm going." Now he walked towards the third workbench alone. Loneliness and a little sad. There is a strong wind and a feeling of cold water. Suchen shook his head and smiled, walking side by side with him. Balin was moved and said, "Brother, my engineering has only barely reached the epic level. We will lose in this competition. I can be humiliated alone. You don't have to come with me." Suchen smiled and said, "Winning the championship is like this. How can you call it humiliation?" Balin paused and looked at Suchen blankly. The other party's confident and optimistic temperament instantly made Bahrain feel a surge of warmth. Only Junlin brothers will remain optimistic no matter what difficulties they face, right? I'm not as good as Junlin brothers, so much more. Come to the workbench. The 2 groups of people next to you have begun intense assembly and building. The Black Iron and Wild Hammer tribes are legendary masters. Their magnanimity, skills, and eyesight are not comparable to ordinary people. On the other hand, Suchen here. Bahrain seemed less confident. While picking up materials and parts on the workbench in a panic, he said to Suchen, "Brother, just watch from the side. Leave the building work to me. Don't worry, even if I lose this competition, I will fight to the end. The momentum of the Bronzebeard tribe cannot be lost." Suchen nodded absently. From the workbench, he picked a 100 Jin heavy hammer. Then he waved it twice. This rookie-like action immediately attracted the ridicule of some players and dwarves around him. Black King Victor of the Iron Tribe sneered, "He is indeed a trash who knows nothing. My poor little nephew can only fool him into this kind of stuff." At the moment, we no longer pay attention to the Bronzebeard tribe, but focus on observing the competition between the Black Iron and Wild Hammer tribes. Balin has no time to care about Suchen. He is at the epic level and is competing with the combination of several legendary masters on the other side. Don't talk about it. To win the championship, there was even a question of whether he could create a finished product within half an hour. The competition was in full swing. Old Earl Bilbo glanced at Suchen and sighed. Alas, an engineering novice who has just started and has no practice, it would be great if I could be 10 years younger. The burden on little Balin's shoulders is too heavy. As the Dark Iron and Wild Hammer tribes completed selecting materials and parts, formal assembly and construction began. The surrounding audience began to utter exclamations one after another. The legendary master's technique is different. Every movement has a natural rhythm that makes people mesmerized. On the other hand, Suchen and Bahrain, forget it, let's watch the legendary master. Boom. 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 Suchen also started building it. He couldn't recognize the materials and parts in front of him, and he didn't bother to identify them. Anyway, with a 100-pound sledgehammer, he just smashed it randomly. Ding! Congratulations on successfully creating Iron Piece *1. Gain entry proficiency in engineering, 1 point. Ding! Congratulations on successfully triggering the lucky event and gaining proficiency doubling time, 10 minutes. It actually triggered a lucky event that doubled the proficiency. Suchen even picked up the hammer and smashed it all the way. Ding! Congratulations on successfully creating Iron Piece *1. Gain entry proficiency in engineering, 2 points. Ding! Congratulations on successfully creating Iron Piece *1. Gain entry proficiency in engineering, 2 points. Ding! Your introductory engineering proficiency is full and you can learn more advanced engineering skills. Is the proficiency level reached? Suchen immediately took out a basic engineering skills book, rubbed his hands together, and learned it. Then he continued to smash it. Ding! Congratulations on successfully creating the primary mechanism bird *1. Gain entry-level proficiency in engineering, 20 points. Ding! Congratulations on successfully creating the primary mechanical jumping frog *1. Gain entry-level proficiency in engineering, 20 points. Ding! Your basic engineering proficiency is full and you can learn more advanced engineering skills. Suchen was learning while smashing. It has attracted the attention of some players. What is he doing? It seems like he is learning skills. Is this guy currently learning and practicing engineering skills? How outrageous! Haha, unless he has all the engineering skill books from entry level to legendary, it would be a fool's errand to upgrade to legendary engineering skills and compete with the surrounding dwarf masters. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 106. Alexander, the leader of God's Whip Guild, also noticed the situation on Suchen's side. Battle on Broken Dream Island. Alexander's mighty knight, who had been preparing for a long time, was instantly crushed by Suchen's dragon knight. From then on, Alexander paid great attention to Suchen. In this battle for the Lonely Mountain King, Suchen unexpectedly won his first victory in the ore competition. It even aroused Alexander's uneasiness. From the moment Suchen participated in this regional mission, Alexander believed that Suchen was the biggest variable in his successful completion of the mission. So when he saw the strangeness on Suchen's side, his brows furrowed even more. See what he does. Even if he has a skill book, he won't have time to build equipment once he reaches legend. In this game, he can't make any big waves. The leader of the Viking guild, the old god, is speaking. Alexander thought about it. He immediately put away the uneasiness in his heart, focused his mind, and looked towards the Wild Hammer tribe. The legendary masters of the two tribes have now created the prototype of legendary equipment. One is a legendary small magic cannon, and the other is a legendary small self-restoring defense tower. They are both powerful engineering equipment that can guard a main city. In order to rush for time, the masters have miniaturized the equipment. Otherwise, think to build a truly legendary magic cannon or defense tower, it takes a lot of time and materials. The Wild Hammer tribe has 3 legendary masters, and the progress is much faster. As for the Dark Iron tribe, although they are only 2 legendary masters, the lucky metal worn on the chest of one of the masters flashed with bright lights from time to time. The small magic cannon on the workbench has also become more sophisticated. As for Bahrain, still nervously selecting materials and parts. As for Suchen, the audience only saw him smashing and rubbing white light. Alas, in previous years, the Bronzebeard tribe was the undisputed number 1 in this category, but now it is. There is no legendary master in charge, and even the epic master is only His Majesty Bahrain. How can it be possible to compete for the first place? The Bronzebeard tribe is destined to lose. The first and second places in this competition can only be chosen by the Wild Hammer and the Dark Iron tribe. Old Earl Bilbo looked at the time. 10 minutes have passed. It seems that little Balin's equipment cannot be made during the competition time. A look of sadness flashed in Bilbo's eyes. King Ocean of the Wild Hammer tribe, watching the progress of the competition on his workbench, laughing loudly. He hugged 2 pretty elf slave girls, raising and lowering their hands, and his eyebrows were beaming with excitement. Takeneo Kuroda, who was standing behind him, just glanced at her with disdain. He glanced at Suchen and stopped paying attention. Ding! Congratulations on successfully building the epic level 2 mini mage tower *1. Gain epic engineering proficiency, 1000 points. Ding! Congratulations! Ding! Your engineering epic proficiency is full and you can learn higher level engineering skills. Phew! Suchen breathed a sigh of relief. After smashing hundreds of hammers, he could finally learn legendary skills. He took out the engineering legendary skill book, rubbed his hands together, and the skill book emitted a brilliant orange light and penetrated into his body. A player happened to see the scene and exclaimed, "Orange light? Did he just learn a legendary skill book?" The person next to him sneered, "You are so deceived. Is the legendary skill book so easy to get?" The player thought about it and nodded yes. It may be the legendary engineering equipment of the Wild Hammer and the Black Iron tribe nearby, which is radiant and reflected. Because Suchen has always been wielding a 100-pound sledgehammer, hammering randomly among a lot of materials and parts. Even if something is built, it is buried in a pile of messy materials. And for the sake of convenience and speed, Suchen built all mini equipment. So outsiders can't find it? However, the old Earl Bilbo, who had been paying attention to Bahrain, noticed something strange about Suchen. As the skill level increases, Suchen's hammer swinging movements gradually gained a hint of charm. Especially after upgrading to the legendary level, even the seemingly random swinging hammer has a master level style and rhythm. Bang, 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 the sound is crisp and sweet. A trace of undetectable orange light bloomed in the middle of the material that was constantly vibrating. The old Earl Bilbo is an old legendary master. My eyes are countless times more poisonous than others. This subtle orange light was immediately captured by him. He almost screamed out in surprise immediately. Fortunately, he had already matured and kept silent. Instead, he looked at Suchen calmly from the corner of his eyes. This human guy that little Balin invited is not simple. There are only the last 10 minutes left in the game. On the Wild Hammer and Dark Iron tribes side, most of the legendary engineering equipment has been completed. Especially for the Wild Hammer tribe, with the cooperation of 3 legendary masters, the small self-restoring defense tower on the workbench has begun to complete the final work. The orange light on the defense tower became more dazzling. Seeing this scene, King Okuyama, who was sitting in the stands, couldn't help but be overjoyed. The 2 elf female slaves were rubbed until they screamed and almost fell over. King Victor also showed joy in his eyes. During the 20-minute creation process, the lucky metal flashed 5 times in total. In other words, there is a high probability that the legendary small magic cannon built by the Black Iron tribe will be a high-quality product. 5 more times. After 5 more attempts, my Black Iron clan's magic cannon will 100% become a high-quality product. Victor's eyes flashed with excitement. At the same time, he did not forget to praise and win over Alexander, the 2 guild leader players. You are the first to create high-quality products. When the time comes, I will not be stingy with rewards. Suchen sighed. Another hammer fell. Ding. Congratulations on successfully building the legendary level 3 mini self-recovery defense tower *1. Gain engineering legendary proficiency, 3000 points. Ding. Your engineering legendary proficiency is full and you can learn higher level engineering skills. Suchen wiped the sweat from his forehead and took out a engineering saint level skill book with a red light. He rubbed his hands together and learned it. Ding. Congratulations, your engineering skills have been successfully upgraded to the holy level. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 107. A moment. Suchen's whole aura became extremely mysterious. If we say that the legendary master can still see the obvious master style. So, Suchen, who has entered the saint level in engineering. It already has a bit of a return to nature. It's like a big house hidden in a deep alley. When I first saw it, I thought it was extremely ordinary. When you take a second look, you'll notice something unusual. By the third and fourth glance, I was attracted involuntarily. Old Earl Bilbo is in such a state now. He looked at Suchen blankly. The more I look at it, the brighter my old eyes become. The more I watched, the more shocked I became. At nearly 300 years old, he no longer had his usual composure, and his whole body was trembling slightly. Has he advanced to that realm? An unparalleled genius, an unparalleled genius. Alexander from God's Whip Guild inadvertently glanced at Suchen. He didn't know engineering, but he felt that Suchen had a strange and fascinating temperament. He asked him to take a second look. I couldn't take my eyes away. At the same time, the uneasiness in my heart rose again and became more intense. What happened? Is this guy going to do something shocking again? At the same time, more and more players and dwarves were unknowingly attracted by Suchen. Weird, why do I keep wanting to see him? Am I also interested in men? Why is this little brother so attractive? The more I watch it, the more I like it. Although Brother Junlin is not a legendary master, looking at it still makes people's hearts itch. There are only 5 minutes left in the game. Suchen put all the many finished products buried in the pile of materials into his backpack. He raised the heavy hammer in his hand. All right. Finally, we can build holy level engineering equipment. However, I don't seem to have any holy level engineering drawings, nor do I have holy level engineering materials on the workbench. Without corresponding drawings, engineers cannot create corresponding engineering equipment. You can only explore and experiment slowly by yourself. But this obviously requires a lot of time and effort. And without holy level materials, if you want to build a holy level instrument with some low level legendary materials, the success rate will be horribly low. I wonder if dragon bones can be used to create holy level equipment. The highest grade ones in Suchen's hands were the two giant dragon skeletons obtained in Longjian village. It belongs to the top level among legendary materials and is extremely rare. Now he broke off a small piece. Start beating randomly. No matter what he hammered out, Suchen didn't expect it to take shape. Even if a holy level piece comes out, it will still be much better than the legendary equipment. At least there is no problem in winning the championship in the skill battle. When? The sound of Suchen swinging the hammer became louder and clearer. That special rhythm attracted Bahrain, who had been sweating profusely assembling parts next to him. My brother, what are you doing? Balin took one look and immediately forgot about the work he was doing. He even forgot about the nervousness and eagerness just now. He only felt that Suchen's hammer after hammer was extremely attractive. Just standing there and watching, it seemed that everything could improve. His engineering skills were average. After just watching for a while, several ideas burst out in his mind. Suchen said casually without raising his head, "Play with a hammer." Play with a hammer. Bahrain was a little confused when he heard this. His head was involuntarily following Suchen's up and down swings, bit by bit. There was only 1 minute left before the end of the game, and Suchen gave the last swing of the hammer. Ding! Congratulations on successfully triggering a super lucky event. The current crafting success rate has been increased to 100%. A red light blooms silently among a lot of messy materials. Ding! Congratulations on successfully creating the Holy Level Blood Dragon Chip *1. Gain Engineering Holy Level Proficiency, 5000 points. Blood Dragon Chip. Grade, Holy Level. Function: the chip created using the bones of the Holy Level Blood Dragon is a key component in assembling the Forbidden Curse Level Forbidden Holy Magical Cannon. Call. Finished. Suchen threw the heavy hammer aside. He wiped his sweat and said relaxedly, Brother, have you finished? What? Suchen stopped moving, and Balin also came back from that mysterious realization. He asked with a confused face. He only saw the pile of materials in front of Suchen, which was a mess. Various grades of materials and the parts were mixed together. Not to mention the legendary equipment, even the shadow of the primary equipment could not be seen. At this moment, the Wild Hammer and the Dark Iron Tribe completed the creation of the legendary equipment in their hands. When the battle of skills finally ended, 1 second expired. Old Earl Bilbo walked to the center of the square, looked at Suchen deeply with his cloudy old eyes, and then announced loudly. When the competition time is over, all participants are asked to leave the workbench and no more building actions are allowed. All the legendary masters left the workbench and stood aside. At the same time, they looked at each other's achievements. The Wild Hammer tribe's legendary small self-restoring defense tower, although only 3 meters long, was constantly absorbing the magical energy between heaven and earth. At the same time, bursts of orange light bloomed, covering hundreds of square meters in the surrounding area. It was obviously a finished product that could be used. The legendary small magic cannon of the Black Iron tribe, although it did not create the will below, was somewhat its a pity. But the magic cannon itself, as the main body, has been completed. Moreover, the complex formation patterns on the gun body have some dazzling lights. Obviously, it is not just a simple legendary magic cannon. And from the 2 Black Iron clan it can be seen from the proud smile on the face of the legendary master that they have probably created a sophisticated legendary magic cannon. As for the Bronzebeard tribe, Bahrain's epic weapon has not even been built in prototype, and there are still piles around it. It was full of sorted parts. but Bahrain could still see a little bit of assembly. But Suchen didn't even have any appearance. Before the game, it was a pile of messy materials, and after the game, it was still a pile of messy materials. Copper. The messy and desolate look of the Sioux tribe's workbench immediately caused the Wild Hammer and Dark Iron clan dwarves and players to burst into laughter. The king of the Wild Hammer tribe Ocean pointed at Suchen's workbench and laughed wildly. I said, nephew Bahrain, who is the person you invited? Are you here to make me laugh? I will tell you that he was very successful. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 108. Okuyama's wild laughter was very harsh. Bahrain clenched his fists tightly, his eyes red. He whispered to Suchen, I'm sorry, brother, it was me who dragged you down and made you suffer humiliation with me. Suchen smiled, pointed at the Wild Hammer King Okuyama who was laughing wildly in the stands, and said, I'll make him cry later, do you believe it? Bahrain. Bahrain has always admired Suchen's confidence and optimism. I also try very hard to learn from his self-confidence. But Balin now realizes that he still can't do it. After Okuyama finished laughing, he glared at the old Earl Bilbo standing in the center and said angrily, Damn old man, what are you still dawdling about? Don't hurry up and announce the results of the competition. Hundreds of thousands of dwarves and tens of thousands of players in the square also looked over. Victor, the king of the Black Iron tribe, glanced nervously at Alexander behind him. The latter clearly saw the proud look on the face of his legendary master. Said confidently to King Victor, Your Majesty, our Black Iron tribe is safe in this competition. Victor's lips immediately raised a smile, and then he concealed it in a subtle way. Looking at the moody Okuyama not far away, he whispered with contempt, vulgar and ignorant. Then he looked at Bahrain, who was full of shame and anger, shook his head and said, Poor, pathetic. Do you think it would make people feel at ease if the entire dwarf race is handed over to two people like this? Victor said to Alexander and others behind him, his face full of worry and anger. Alexander and others immediately smiled and said, Of course not. Only your Majesty has the qualifications and ability to become the king of Gushan and lead the dwarves to the next glory. Hearing the compliments from the two of them, Victor could no longer hide the smile on his face. Among the future dwarves and counts, there will definitely be a place for you too. Thank you, your Majesty. Alexander and the two were overjoyed. In the center of the square, the old Earl Bilbo coughed unhurriedly. He glanced at the furious King Ocean lightly. Although he only held the title of Earl, Bilbo's age and qualifications were not enough. He was not afraid of facing the king of Okuyama. He immediately called the 3 groups of competition personnel behind him. Following him, he first walked to the Wild Hammer tribe's workbench. He looked at it for a few times and fiddled with it a few times. He understood in his heart and said loudly, Wild Hammer tribe, ordinary legendary small self-restoring defense tower, completion level, 100%. Then he said to the masters behind him, Do you have any objections? With the things here, no one can question them. Everyone shook their heads at that moment. The Wild Hammer tribe also burst into cheers at the right time. King Okuyama was even more proud. Old Bilbo led everyone to the Black Iron tribe workbench again. After observing it for a while, he announced, Black Iron tribe, exquisite legendary small magic cannon, completion level, 70%. Do you have any objections? The 3 legendary masters of the Wild Hammer tribe came to this small magic cannon. After looking at it carefully for a few times, they shook their heads with a stern face. They did not expect that the Dark Iron tribe actually created a masterpiece. Although the completion level only 70%. But the grade is always higher than the degree of completion. According to this calculation, the ranking of their Wild Hammer tribe is a bit hanging. The Dark Iron tribe cheered louder. King Victor laughed. King Ocean of the Wild Hammer tribe, he said angrily, what a joke. Just bad luck. It's not certain who will win and who will lose. Finally, old Bilbo led everyone to the Bronzebeard tribe workbench. The surrounding dwarves and players immediately booed. Everyone could see that the Bronzebeard tribe was basically out. Old Bilbo looked calm. First walked to Balin's work. After looking at it for a few times, he sighed to Balin, who lowered his head and was extremely ashamed. Little Bahrain, whatever you do, you have to do it calmly, without being hasty or impatient. You already have epic engineering skills, but the work on stage is so subpar. You didn't even make a prototype in half an hour. It's a bit disappointing. Balin lowered his head even lower. Master Bilbo, the student, is wrong. Old Bilbo once taught Balin. Even now that Balin has become the king of the Bronzebeard tribe, it is not an exaggeration to call himself a student in front of Bilbo. Old Bilbo sighed, turned to look at Suchen next to Balin, showed a rare smile, and said, "You should learn more from the supporter around you and learn from his composure and confidence." The 5 legendary masters around casually glanced at the stage where Suchen worked, with sarcasm flashing in their eyes. This human race is calm and confident enough, but he has done nothing. He is clearly a negative example. Unlike Suchen, these legendary masters felt insulted when they competed together. Old Bilbo walked slowly to the stage that Suchen had built, carefully rummaged through the messy materials, and then took a closer look. Then he slowly turned around, bowed to Suchen. "Student, I have met the Holy Master." Old Bilbo's voice was full of piety, touch, shock, and relief. The 5 legendary masters around him were in an uproar. Even Balin quickly lifted old Bilbo up. "Master Bilbo, what are you doing?" The legendary masters around them all shouted at Suchen. "The human boy, why don't you avoid it quickly? How can you bear Master Bilbo's bow?" The dwarves have a very strict hierarchy when it comes to engineering skills. Those who are masters come first and respect their teachers. This is what every engineer must abide by. Suchen was unmoved. There was a trace of calmness on his face. But old Bilbo acted with dignity. He picked up the crutch in his hand, struck the 5 legendary masters around him, and said sternly, "You little bastards, why don't you come over quickly to pay your respects to the Holy Master?" The 5 legendary masters were stunned by old Bilbo. Naturally, they were unconvinced in every possible way. "You, Bilbo, have high qualifications, so you should scold us and beat us. But you want us, the legendary masters, to bow down to a newbie? A human kid, and a rookie who knows nothing. Isn't this insulting?" "Wait, Master Bilbo, what did you just say, Holy Master? Brother Junlin, is a Holy Master?" Bahrain trembled and asked. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion." Author, 7 years. Chapter 109. Old Bilbo flashed an extremely disappointed look at the 5 legendary masters around him. Pointing at the pile of materials that Suchen had smashed, he said, "Go and see for yourself. If I say a few more words to you bastards, old man, I will be pissed to death right now." Everyone's eyes were filled with surprise and uncertainty. He reluctantly joined the pile of materials. I turned it over twice with a bit of disgust. A sudden flash of crimson light, like the bloody light that suddenly appeared in the 9 netherworld, pierced their eyes. The 5 legendary masters all trembled. In an instant, all the disputes between the 3 clans, skill competitions, winning and losing games, and the prejudice against Suchen were all forgotten. These masters who have been immersed in engineering all their lives treat them like their own newborn babies. Carefully, he picked up the blood dragon chip from the pile of materials. The bloody red light belonging to the holy level suddenly bloomed. On the chip, there is even the unique residual warmth of what was just created. Really, it's a holy level blood dragon chip. Definitely fresh out of the oven. That guy, no, that noble saint master actually created a saint level component. And it uses the low level legendary materials we provide, and it can actually be created to a saint level. It's too strong. The 5 white-haired legendary masters held up the coin-sized blood dragon chip as if they were holding the Holy Grail. The noble crimson light was displayed in the eyes of hundreds of thousands of people present. In an instant, there was a gasp of air in the entire Gushan square. King Okuyama's copper bell-sized eyes almost popped out of his sockets. The smile on King Victor's face froze in an instant. Takeneo Kuroda's face was filled with disbelief. Alexander's eyes widened. He closed his mouth, stared at the blood dragon chip, and murmured in a low voice, I knew, this damn King's Landing. Bahrain stared blankly at the blood dragon chip held in the hands of the legendary masters. Then he turned his head little by little and looked at Suchen, who had an indifferent expression on the side. Brother Junlin, it turns out, is really, a holy master. For a moment, he remembered Suchen's confident and calm look before. Just like how he looks now. It turns out that he already possesses holy level skills that are unparalleled in the world, but I have been questioning him. Thinking of an extremely noble saint master who has been silently standing beside him, supporting him and cheering him up. Bahrain's eyes were blurred by tears again. Brother, Bahrain, owe you so much. Just as the whole place fell silent, old Earl Bilbo loudly announced the results of the Bronzebeard tribe's competition. Bronzebeard tribe, holy level. Blood dragon chip. Hearing Bilbo's announcement, hundreds of thousands of people present all trembled. Old Bilbo turned around, swept his eyebrows at the 5 legendary masters around him, and asked coldly, do you have any objections? The 5 legendary masters quickly bowed deeply to Suchen. Students, don't dare. Students, meet the holy master. Then, he fearfully handed the blood dragon chip back to Suchen. Are you kidding? How dare you question a saint-level master? Wouldn't that be humiliating yourself? At the same time, these legendary masters also thought of a terrible, but another highly anticipated possibility, if the holy master uses real holy level materials. Coupled with the assistance of the dwarf tribe's lonely mountain divine anvil. Then, can the artifact of ancestor Muraden thousands of years ago be used? What about being born again? In that case, can the dwarves give birth to another god to lead Gushan to glory again? Thinking of this, these legendary masters looked at Suchen with extremely fanatical eyes. The Bronzebeard tribe once again won the title of skills with the victory in the battle. The old Bilbo seemed to be several years younger in an instant. He strode towards the center of the square, with a bit of excitement, loudly announced. I, Bilbo, Lord of Ironforge of the Bronzebeard tribe, solemnly declare now. The one who ranks first in the battle of skills is the Bronzebeard tribe. Get 2 king stars. Second place, Black Iron tribe, received a king star. Third place, Wild Hammer tribe. Bilbo's words fell. Balin burst into tears. The dwarves of the Bronzebeard tribe burst into cheers. Ocean, the king of the Wild Hammer tribe, crushed the 2 elf slave girls to death with one hand in each hand. He roared, this the king is not convinced. Oh you. Shan pointed at Suchen and shouted angrily, this person is not from my tribe, so what if he creates a holy weapon? How can this be regarded as the achievement of the Bronzebeard tribe? Old Bilbo said calmly, the holy master of King's Landing is a supporter of King Balin of the Bronzebeard tribe. His achievements can naturally be counted among the Bronzebeard tribe. Okuyama waved his hand. No. This broken rule needs to be changed now. Any achievements of people who are not from my race cannot be counted into the tribe. Victor, the king of the Black Iron tribe on one side, his eyes lit up and he sneered. I agree with Okuyama. They also agreed that from the beginning of the Ore dispute, all achievements of outsiders would be excluded and only the achievements of the people of the tribe would be counted. Victor made a good calculation. As long as Suchen is removed from the list, he will be the first in the battle of skills. One king star will immediately become two. He will not let such a good thing go. How could Bahrain have imagined it? Okuyama and Victor, the two cheap uncles, were so shameless that they were trembling with anger. Suddenly something came to mind, and they pulled Suchen to the center of the square and said with great pride. Who said Junlin brothers are not from my dwarf clan? Brother Junlin has the blood of the dwarf king, which is more noble than the blood of the kings of our three clans. Even the ancestor Muraden recognized the identity of the Junlin brothers and performed miracles to bless the Junlin brothers. The soldiers stationed at the temple saw all this. Okuyama and Victor sneered. Do you think he has it? Return the blood of the dwarf king. If a human race has the blood of the dwarf king, then wouldn't this king be the reincarnation of our ancestor Muraden? Buzz. An invisible wave centered on Suchen and spread to all directions. Resonance derived from blood. Immediately, hundreds of thousands of dwarves present were aroused, and all of them were shaken. The same goes for Okuyama and Victor. Feeling the resonance of their blood that Suchen brought to them, the sneer in his mouth was stuck in his throat, and his face turned red. It turns out, it's really the blood of the Dwarf King. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 110. Although players cannot feel this special fluctuation. But he saw the expressions on the faces of the surrounding dwarves, including the two tribal kings, Ocean and Victor. Got it immediately. Suchen really has the blood of the Dwarf King. Takeneo Kuroda, whose whole body is shrouded in a black robe, has a distorted face and clenched fists. Bastard, so this is what you rely on? Is this how you used this method to drive us out of the ancestral temple? Good. Very good, so what if you get 3 king stars now? As long as I beat you to death in the final level of force competition. Kill all the contestants from the Bronzebeard tribe. That way, it can be postponed to overtime. Overtime is still a competition of force. This time, I will kill you back to the novice village. Let the myth you created completely fall away. Alexander and Viking Captain Talk both had gloomy faces. Why does this guy always have endless tricks? The only way now is to kill this guy in a competition of force. Let the Bronzebeard tribe be eliminated directly in the final competition. Then, the Black Iron tribe we support will still have hope. Okuyama and Victor both looked livid. Looking at Suchen, his eyes flashed with undisguised murderous intent. The sudden change completely cut off their intention to change the outcome of the game. If Suchen, who has the blood of the Dwarf King, is not qualified to participate, then all dwarves will be ineligible to participate. At that moment, King Okuyama grabbed Kuroda Takeneo behind him, lifted him up, and said viciously. Tell me. In the next martial arts competition, can you kill him? The furious Okuyama stared at Takeneo Kuroda with cannibalistic eyes. Shame, anger, and hatred flashed in the latter's heart. The second son of the dignified Kuroda family was treated like this by a game NPC. If it were not possible to rely on the power of the dwarves, fighting for the family property, he had already sent people to assassinate King Okuyama. Kuroda Takeneo looked at Okuyama calmly and said, Dear Your Majesty, please rest assured, if evil heart is useless. Then, for Your Majesty, I will invite the ultimate power of the Dark Temple to kill all enemies who dare to resist Your Majesty. Dark Temple. Hearing Kuroda Takeneo's words, a trace of deep fear flashed in Okuyama's eyes. If this evil human race can really invite the power of the Dark Temple, then he, Okuyama, can't bring this Takeneo Kuroda, treated as a tool to be used at will. Ha ha ha. Okuyama personally arranged Kuroda Takaneo's clothes and left. With the words of the national master, I feel relieved. Now he roared angrily at old Bilbo in the center of the square. Damn old man. Why not hurry up and announce the start of the third competition? If you delay the game, I will kill you no matter who you are. Kuroda Takaneo disappeared behind Okuyama again. Looking at Okuyama, there was a hint of hidden mockery and murderous intent in his eyes. With old Bilbo's announcement, the final battle of force begins. The competition of force is the most critical competition in the Battle of Gushan King. The first place will receive 3 king stars. 2 for second place. The third one. If a member of one party is killed, they will be removed directly. Moreover, this game has no referee and no specific rules. Fight until one party admits defeat or dies. The reason why such a competition is set up is to restore the cruelty of racial survival to the greatest extent. Let the dwarves retain their bloody and bravery while retaining their superb engineering equipment skills. Old Bilbo gave up his place in the center of the square. He patted Bahrain lightly on the shoulder. Little Balin, you must be careful in this scene. That Gaiashan has no taboos. Balin nodded solemnly. He dragged Suchen to the stands and sat down. Brother Junlin, this battle has nothing to do with you and me. It all depends on whether Uncle Dwalin can persist until the end. Soon. The contestants from the Wild Hammer tribe were the first to stand in the center of the square. He is actually another strong man with a height of 1.8 meters. Suchen looked at it intently. Angry 1 Twaba Axe. Level 100. HP, 250,000. Attack, 40,000. Defense, 4,000. Skill, Mountain Axe Earthshatter Fury. Description: the younger brother of the first warrior of the Dwarf Wild Hammer tribe Bloodthirsty Twaba Hammer and the second warrior of the Wild Hammer tribe. He is extremely irritable and fights extremely fiercely. His enemies rarely survive. No wonder he's so tall. He turns out to be the younger brother of that guy Twaba Chui. At 1.8 meters tall, he is definitely a giant among dwarves. Just when Suchen was looking at Twaba Axe, the other party also stared at him. Raising the epic axe as big as a cattail leaf fan in his hand, he pointed at Suchen sitting in the stands and shouted angrily. Was it you who killed my brother? Get down here and die. Suchen narrowed his eyes. Balin quickly held down Suchen's arm. Brother, don't accept his provocation. You have the blood of the Dwarf King and have the honor of a Saint Master. Just leave this matter to Uncle Dvalin. Here comes the Bronzebeard tribe. A majestic dwarf holding a shield in one hand and a hammer in the other immediately came out. Bronzebeard General Dwalin. Level, 100. HP, 200,000. Attack, 30,000. Defense, 10,000. Skill, Sacred Shield Endurance Aura A Brave Blow. Dwalin bowed to Balin, the king of the Bronzebeard tribe, with his right hand and his chest. Bahrain solemnly said, Uncle Dvalin, I leave everything to you. Dvalin laughed loudly, knocked the orange-colored shield in his hand, and said, Your Majesty, please rest assured. With the legendary battle shield given by the late king, there will be no problem in remaining undefeated. Suchen saw that his defense was as high as 10,000, which was indeed more than twice as high as Twaba Axe. Dvalin strode to the center of the square and shouted coldly at the tall Twaba Axe. Boy, your opponent is me. Come on, Uncle will play with you until dawn. Twaba Axe looked at the legendary war shield in Dwalin's hand, a look of violence flashed in his eyes. He then took out a beating black heart from his arms, opened his mouth and swallowed it. With a cool gesture, it was clean and neat. It's as easy as drinking water. Takaneo Kuroda of the Wild Hammer tribe, his eyes widened when he saw it. Why take it now? Your Majesty, didn't you tell him that this evil heart has a 10-minute limit on its effectiveness? If it takes more than 10 minutes, he will die suddenly. King. Wildhammer Okuyama was also a little confused. Ahem, I forgot to tell him the side effects, but this fool, he swallowed it too fast, that King's Landing hasn't even started yet.